When my husband's phone lit up at midnight with a text that read, "I can't wait to see you tomorrow, baby," followed by a heart emoji, I felt my entire world crack open like fragile glass hitting concrete. 15 years of marriage, two beautiful children, and a love I thought was unbreakable. All of it shattered in the glow of that single message. My name is Ebony Marshall, and I'm 41 years old. For the past 15 years, I've been Marcus's wife, and for the past 12 years, I've been a devoted mother to our two children, Aiden and Naomi. I thought I knew what my life was: solid, predictable, blessed. But that midnight phone call taught me that sometimes the people we trust most are the ones hiding the darkest secrets. I met Marcus when I was 24 years old, fresh out of graduate school, with a degree in social work and dreams of changing the world. He was 26, working as an electrical engineer, with a smile that could light up a room and a laugh that made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. Our first date was at a tiny soul food restaurant in downtown Atlanta, where we talked for 4 hours straight about everything and nothing: our childhoods, our dreams, our favorite movies, the kind of life we wanted to build. "I want a family," he told me that night, holding my hand across the table. "Not just kids, but a real family. Sunday dinners, game nights, vacations where we make memories. The kind of love that lasts forever." I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. We got married 2 years later in a beautiful ceremony at my grandmother's church. I wore my mother's wedding dress, altered to fit me perfectly, and Marcus cried when he saw me walking down the aisle. His vows were simple but powerful. "Ebony, you are my heart, my home, my everything. I promise to love you, protect you, and choose you every single day for the rest of my life." Those early years were magical. We lived in a small apartment in Decatur, saving every penny for our future. Marcus would leave little love notes in my lunch bag before I left for work. I'd cook his favorite meals: fried chicken, mac and cheese, collard greens, and we'd eat dinner at our tiny kitchen table, talking about our days and planning our dreams. When I got pregnant with Aiden, Marcus was over the moon. He painted the nursery himself, stayed up late assembling furniture, and read parenting books cover to cover. The night Aiden was born, Marcus held our son and whispered, "I'm going to be the best father in the world for you, little man. I promise." And he was. At least I thought he was. Our life felt like a blessing. Marcus got promoted to senior engineer, and we bought our dream house, a 4-bedroom colonial with a big backyard where the kids could play. I cut back my hours at the social services agency to be home more with Aiden, and 3 years later, Naomi came along, completing our perfect family. Sunday mornings meant pancakes and cartoons. Friday nights were family movie nights with homemade popcorn. Summer meant camping trips and teaching the kids to fish. We were that family that other people envied, the ones who seemed to have it all figured out. Marcus was attentive, affectionate, present. He coached Aiden's soccer team and never missed Naomi's dance recitals. He'd come home from work and help with homework, play in the backyard until dark, and tuck the kids into bed with stories and prayers. Then he'd find me in our bedroom, pull me close, and remind me that I was still his everything. How did I get so lucky? My forehead. I thought I was the lucky one. The changes started about 8 months ago, so subtle I almost didn't notice them at first. Marcus started working late more often. Project deadlines, he'd say, a demanding new client who needed extra attention. I understood. His job was important, and we had bills to pay, college funds to build, but then came the business trips. 1 weekend a month became 2 weekends, then 3. He'd pack his bag, kiss me goodbye, and promise to call every night. And he did call. Short conversations where he sounded tired and distracted, always cutting off quickly because he had an early meeting or a dinner with colleagues. "I miss you," I'd say. "Miss you too, babe. Gotta run, love you," then he'd be gone. I started noticing other small things. His phone was always face down now, something he'd never done before. He'd changed his passcode. I only discovered this when I tried to use his phone to call mine after I'd misplaced it, and the code he'd used for years no longer worked. Oh, I had to change it for work security, he explained casually. New company policy. He was showering as soon as he got home from work, even though he worked in an office and had never been particularly concerned about freshening up before dinner. New cologne appeared on his dresser, something expensive and sophisticated that I'd never bought him. Client gave it to me as a thank you gift, he said with a shrug. His text messages became secretive. He'd smile at his phone, type quickly, then put it away when I entered the room. If I asked who he was texting, he'd say it was work stuff or his buddy from college. Everything okay with the project? I'd ask. Yeah, just some details to iron out. Nothing to worry about. But I was starting to worry. Something felt off, like a picture hanging slightly crooked on the wall. You can't quite put your finger on what's wrong, but you know something isn't right. Our intimacy changed too. Marcus was still affectionate, still told me he loved me. But there was a distance that hadn't been there before. When we made love, he seemed distracted, mechanical, almost. Like his body was there, but his mind was somewhere else. Are we okay? I asked him one night after he'd rolled over immediately after, reaching for his phone. Of course we're okay, baby. Why would you ask that? I don't know. You just seem distant lately. He pulled me close, kissed my forehead in that familiar way. I'm just stressed with work, but you? Us? We're solid, Ebony. Always have been, always will be. I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. My best friend Keisha noticed it too. We'd been friends since college, and she knew me better than anyone except Marcus. Girl, is everything all right with you and Marcus? She asked during one of our weekly coffee dates. Yeah, why? I don't know. You seem off, and Marcus has been really hard to pin down lately. Jerome tried to invite him to play basketball like 3 times, and he's always busy. He's just working a lot, I said defensively. Big project at work. Keisha studied me with those knowing eyes. Ebony, I'm your girl. If something's wrong, you can tell me. Nothing's wrong, I insisted. But even as I said it, I wondered if I was trying to convince her or myself. The night before everything changed, Marcus came home late again, 11 o'clock, claiming the client dinner had run long. He smelled like wine and that expensive cologne. His shirt was slightly wrinkled, his tie loosened in a way that looked too casual, too comfortable. How was dinner? I asked from our bed, where I'd been reading while waiting up for him. Long, boring, you know how these things are. He started undressing, his back to me. I'm exhausted. Mind if we just go to sleep? Sure, I said quietly. He climbed into bed, kissed my cheek, and turned away from me. Within minutes, his breathing deepened into sleep. But I lay there in the darkness, staring at the ceiling, feeling something cold settling in my chest. Something was wrong. I just didn't know how wrong. The next night changed everything. I couldn't sleep. Something heavy sat on my chest, keeping me awake even though I was exhausted. Marcus was snoring softly beside me, one arm flung above his head, completely at peace while I wrestled with anxieties I couldn't name. At 11:47 p.m., his phone buzzed on the nightstand. Once. Twice. 3 times in rapid succession. I watched the screen light up in the darkness, casting shadows across our bedroom ceiling. Marcus didn't stir. The phone buzzed again. My heart started pounding. Something told me, some primal instinct that wives develop when their world is about to implode, that I needed to look at that phone. My hands were shaking as I reached across Marcus's sleeping form and carefully picked up his phone. The messages were from a contact saved as Chris Work. But the preview text on the lock screen made my blood run cold. I can't wait to see you tomorrow, baby. Missing you already. Tonight was amazing. Can't believe we have to wait a whole week before Atlanta. I need you now. My hands trembled so violently I almost dropped the phone. Chris. I knew all of Marcus's work friends. There was no Chris. There had never been a Chris. Marcus stirred beside me, and I quickly set the phone back down, my heart hammering so hard I thought it might burst through my chest. I lay perfectly still, pretending to sleep, while my mind raced through every possibility, every excuse, every explanation that might make this make sense. But there was no innocent explanation for those messages. I waited until Marcus's breathing deepened again, then I quietly slipped out of bed and went to the bathroom. I sat on the closed toilet seat, hands over my mouth to muffle my sobs, feeling like I was drowning. 15 years. 15 years of marriage, of building a life together, of trust and promises and forever. And he'd been cheating on me. How long? Weeks? Months? The business trips? Had any of them been real? Atlanta? They were planning to meet in Atlanta? Marcus had told me just yesterday that he had a conference in Atlanta next week. Thursday through Sunday. 4 days. 4 days with her. I wanted to scream. I wanted to wake him up and demand the truth. I wanted to throw his phone against the wall and watch it shatter, like my heart was shattering. But I couldn't move. I just sat there in my bathroom, my safe space where I'd bathed my babies and gotten ready for date nights with my husband, and I fell apart. The investigation. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I lay in bed next to my cheating husband, watching him sleep peacefully while I planned my next move. By the time the sun came up, I'd made a decision. I needed proof. Real, undeniable proof before I confronted him. Because I knew Marcus, he was smart, smooth-talking, and he'd have an explanation ready. He'd make me feel crazy for doubting him, make me apologize for invading his privacy. Unless I had evidence he couldn't deny. The next morning I acted completely normal. Made breakfast, got the kids ready for school, kissed Marcus goodbye like I had 1,000 times before. "Have a good day at work," I said, the words tasting like poison in my mouth. "You too, baby. Love you. Love you too." The lies we tell. After everyone left, I sat down at my computer and did something I never thought I'd do. I logged into our cell phone account online. I'd set up the account years ago and never thought twice about it. Marcus didn't even know I had access to detailed records. My hands shook as I pulled up his text message logs from the past 6 months. The number saved as Chris Work appeared hundreds of times. Hundreds. Multiple texts every single day. Dozens of calls. Some lasting over an hour. I cross-referenced the dates with his business trips. Every single trip matched up with increased communication with this number. The night he claimed to have a client dinner? 47 text messages to Chris between 6 p.m. and midnight. The evidence was overwhelming, undeniable, and absolutely devastating. I called Keisha, sobbing so hard I could barely speak. "Ebony!" "Baby, what's wrong?" "He's cheating on me," I choked out. "Marcus is having an affair." "What? Are you sure?" I told her everything. The messages, the phone records, the lies about business trips. "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I'm coming over right now." Keisha arrived 20 minutes later and held me while I cried on my living room couch, the same couch where Marcus and I had cuddled, watching movies, where we'd played with our babies, where we'd built our life. "What are you going to do?" Keisha asked gently. "I don't know. I need more proof. I need to know who she is." "Ebony, you have enough proof. Those messages..." "I need to see it with my own eyes," I said firmly. I need him to look me in the face and not be able to lie his way out of it. That evening, after Marcus came home and we went through our normal family routine, dinner, homework help, bedtime stories, I waited until he fell asleep. Then I did something that would have horrified the old me, the trusting me, the me who existed just 48 hours ago. I took his phone into the bathroom and used his fingerprint while he slept to unlock it. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely navigate through his messages. He deleted the conversation thread with Chris, but he'd been sloppy with his email. There, in his personal Gmail account that he thought was safe, was the truth. Her name was Christina. She was 32 years old, worked at a marketing firm Marcus's company had partnered with on a project. They'd met 9 months ago at a business conference. The emails between them were explicit, romantic, and absolutely devastating. "I've never felt this way before," Marcus had written to her. "What we have is special." "When are you going to tell her?" Christina had asked in one email from 3 months ago. "Soon," Marcus replied. "I just need to find the right time. The kids are still young and I don't want to hurt them, but I promise. Chris, you and I have a future. You're my soulmate." I read email after email, each one driving the knife deeper into my heart. There were hotel reservations in his name and hers, photos of them together. Marcus with his arm around a beautiful young woman with long brown hair and a bright smile, both of them looking at each other like they were the only two people in the world. The way he used to look at me. There were texts about their future together. Christina had sent him listings for apartments in Charlotte, where she was from, with messages about starting our new life together. Marcus had responded with heart emojis and promises about soon. He wasn't just having an affair. He was planning to leave me, leave us. Our family, our children, our 15 years together. He was going to throw it all away for a woman he'd known less than a year. The most devastating email was from just 2 weeks ago. Christina had written, "I know this is hard, waiting for you to tell Ebony. But Marcus, I love you. And I can't keep being your secret forever. You said you'd tell her by Thanksgiving. That's next month. Promise me you'll do it. Promise me we can start our life together." Marcus's response, "I promise, baby. By Thanksgiving, she'll know everything. And then we can finally be together the way we're meant to be." I sat on that cold bathroom floor, reading those emails over and over until the words blurred together. My husband, the man who'd promised to love me forever, who'd vowed before God and our families to forsake all others, had been living a double life for 9 months. 9 months of lies, deception, and planning a future that didn't include me or our children. By Thanksgiving. He was going to destroy our family by Thanksgiving. I took screenshots of everything, the emails, the photos, the hotel reservations, the apartment listings. I forwarded them all to my own email, then carefully deleted any trace of what I'd done from his phone. My hands moved mechanically, efficiently, while my heart shattered into smaller and smaller pieces. When I crawled back into bed next to him, I stared at his sleeping face, the face I'd loved for 17 years, the face I'd kissed goodbye 1,000 times, the face of the man who'd held my hand through labor and cried at our children's births. Who was this stranger lying beside me? How had I slept next to a liar for 9 months and not known? The turning point. I didn't sleep. By the time dawn broke, I'd made my decision. I wasn't going to wait for Marcus to tell me by Thanksgiving. I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of controlling this narrative, of preparing his exit strategy, of making me the blindsided victim in his story. I was going to take control. That morning, I dropped the kids at school like always. But instead of going home, I drove straight to Keisha's house. Her husband, Jerome, answered the door, took one look at my face, and immediately called for his wife. "I need help," I told them both, "and I need you to promise not to try to talk me out of what I'm about to do." I showed them everything, every email, every photo, every promise Marcus had made to another woman while kissing me goodnight. Keisha cried, Jerome's jaw clenched so tight I thought he might crack a tooth. "That's sorry," Jerome started, but Keisha put a hand on his arm. "What do you need from us?" she asked me. "I need the name of a good divorce attorney. And I need someone to watch the kids this Saturday while I do what I have to do." Keisha didn't hesitate. "Done. Whatever you need." By that afternoon, I had a consultation scheduled with one of Atlanta's top divorce attorneys for the next day. By that evening, I'd opened my own bank account and transferred half of our savings into it. Money I'd contributed to, money I'd earned, money that was rightfully mine. Marcus came home that night with flowers. "Just because," he said, kissing my cheek and handing me a bouquet of roses, "I know I've been working a lot lately, and I wanted to remind you how much I love you." I took the flowers with a smile. "They're beautiful." "Thank you." Guilt flowers. That's what these were. Bought with guilt money by a guilty man who was planning to leave me in 3 weeks. "Hey," he said, pulling me close, "are we good?" "You seem a little off lately." I looked up at him, this man who'd become such an accomplished liar. "We're good. Just tired. You know how it is." "I know, baby. I know." He kissed my forehead, and I let him, even though his touch now felt like poison on my skin. "Hey, about Atlanta next week. I was thinking maybe you and I could plan a trip. Just us two. Maybe for Christmas? Get away. Reconnect. The audacity. He was going to spend 4 days with his mistress, then come home and pretend to plan a romantic getaway with me to assuage his guilt. "That sounds nice," I said, my voice steady even though I wanted to scream. "Let's talk about it after your trip." "Perfect." He smiled that charming smile that used to make my heart flutter. Now it just made me sick. Friday morning, I met with the attorney. Her name was Patricia Monroe, and she'd been practicing family law for 25 years. I showed her everything. "You have an airtight case," she said, reviewing the evidence with a critical eye. "This is about as clear-cut as it gets." Georgia is a no-fault divorce state, but this kind of evidence strengthens your position for everything. Custody, alimony, property division. "I don't want to destroy him," I said quietly. "I just want what's fair. And I want my children protected. Then that's what we'll fight for." Saturday came. Marcus thought I was going to a spa day with Keisha, a lie I'd told him easily because I'd learned from the best. Instead, I drove to the Ritz-Carlton in downtown Atlanta, where Marcus had a reservation under his name starting Thursday through Sunday. I'd done my research. Christina would be arriving Saturday afternoon, joining Marcus for their weekend together. I'd read their plans in his emails. Dinner reservations at a fancy restaurant, a couple's massage at the hotel spa, breakfast in bed. All the romantic things he used to do with me. I parked in the hotel garage and waited. At 2:47 p.m., I saw her, Christina, with her designer luggage and her excited smile, checking in at the reception desk. My husband's mistress, looking like she'd won the lottery. At 3:15 p.m., I watched Marcus come down to the lobby to meet her. He was wearing the shirt I'd bought him for his birthday, the cologne that she'd supposedly given him as a gift from a client. He swept her into his arms right there in the lobby, kissing her like they were in a movie, like they were the only two people in the world, like he'd never kissed me that way 1,000 times before. I took photos, video, documented everything. Then I waited exactly 30 minutes. Long enough for them to get comfortable in their room, long enough for them to think they were safe in their secret world. Then I walked into that hotel, took the elevator to the 7th floor, and knocked on room 714. Marcus answered the door in a hotel robe, his smile dropping instantly when he saw me standing there. "Ebony, how did you—" "Surprise," I said calmly, pushing past him into the room. Christina was sitting on the bed in a silk negligee, her face going pale when she saw me. "You must be Chris," I said, my voice deadly calm. "Or should I say Christina? The woman my husband has been having an affair with for 9 months? "Ebony, let me explain." Marcus started, but I held up my hand. "Don't. Don't you dare try to explain this away." Christina grabbed a robe, her eyes darting between Marcus and me. "You said you were getting divorced. You said you'd already told her." He lied," I said, simply, looking at her. "He's been lying to both of us." "He's still wearing his wedding ring, Christina. Did you notice that?" She looked at his hand, and I saw the realization dawn on her face. Ebony, please. Let's talk about this at home, Marcus pleaded. Talk about what, Marcus? About how you've been planning to destroy our family by Thanksgiving? About how you've been looking at apartments with her while tucking our children into bed at night? About how you bought me flowers last Tuesday while planning your weekend getaway with your mistress? His face crumbled. How did I know? Because I'm not stupid, Marcus. And you got sloppy. You got comfortable. You thought I'd never find out. Or maybe you thought I'd be so devastated I'd just accept it when you finally decided to tell me. Christina stood up. I think I should go. Yes, you should, I said. But first, you should know that Marcus has 2 children. Aiden is 12, and Naomi is 9. They worship their father, and he's been planning to abandon them for you. I saw something flicker in her eyes. Doubt, guilt, maybe even disgust. We were going to work out custody, Marcus started weakly. Custody? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. You mean weekend visits? You were going to reduce our children to weekend visits so you could play house with her? I turned back to Christina. He made me promises too, you know. 15 years ago, he promised to love me forever, to forsake all others, to be faithful. How long do you think before he gets bored with you and finds someone new? I walked out of that hotel room with my head held high, leaving Marcus calling after me, begging me to wait. I didn't wait. I'd waited long enough. 9 months while he betrayed me. 15 years while I built a life with a man who didn't deserve my loyalty. I was done waiting. The divorce proceedings were swift. With the evidence I had, Marcus didn't fight me. He couldn't. I got primary custody of the children, the house, fair alimony, and child support. Marcus moved in with Christina for exactly 6 weeks before their relationship imploded. Turns out, affairs built on deception don't make solid foundations for real relationships. The hardest part was telling Aiden and Naomi. They cried. They were angry, confused, heartbroken. But I was honest with them in age-appropriate ways. Their father had made choices that hurt our family, and while he loved them, he'd failed at being a good husband and a faithful father. Does this mean Daddy doesn't love us anymore? Naomi asked through her tears. Your daddy loves you very much, I told her, holding both my children close. But he made some very selfish choices. And you need to know that his choices are not your fault. You are perfect, and you are loved, and nothing will ever change that. Marcus sees the kids every other weekend now. It's awkward, strained, but we manage. He tried to apologize to me several times, but I told him I didn't need his apologies. I needed him to be a better father to our children than he was a husband to me. As for me, I'm rebuilding. I started therapy to work through the betrayal and the grief of losing the life I thought I had. I have been leaning on my friends, my faith, and my own strength that I didn't know I possessed. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I went back to school to finish my doctorate in social work, something I'd put off for years because I was too busy supporting Marcus's career and raising our family. Turns out, I'd been putting my own dreams on hold for a man who didn't deserve my sacrifice. I'm dating again, slowly, carefully. But this time, I know my worth. I know what I deserve. And I'll never again settle for someone who treats my love like it's disposable. Aiden told me last week that I seem happier now than I'd been in a long time. He's right. I am happier. Because I'm no longer living a lie. I'm no longer married to a man who had 1 foot out the door. I'm free. When someone shows you they're capable of betraying you in the darkness, believe them. Because the moment you turn on the light is the moment you save yourself from stumbling further into their lies.